Peace, everybody. Welcome to the IIY Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. This is your host, Juice.
And I'm your host, D. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, man. So, we're about to get into it.
Talk about Batman vs. Superman. Dawn of Justice. What'd you think about the movie, man?
Dude, I thought it was dope, man. Like, look, I don't understand. I saw all the fucking comments. I saw all... Facebook was blowing up.
Comments were right.
Yeah, I saw that. And you know what? Maybe that's why I went in with kind of low expectations. I saw it late. But I thought the movie was pretty good. For a movie building up, it was straight.
It was decent, man. It just could have been better, man. All right, like, you know, with the abundance of superhero movies that we have coming out nowadays, you have to have, like, more consistent storytelling. Like, the movie itself was good. Like, it looked good. It was beautiful. But they just jumped around too much. Like, the editing let it down. You know what I mean? Like,
there was a couple editing.
And then you'd be there, you know? Like,
fumbles.
You know,
foibles.
The movie didn't have room to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, so.
I don't know what the problem was, though. Like, look, all right. So, yeah, there was a couple of things. But I think a lot of that was kind of heading into, like, they were trying to push the movie to different directions, you know? Like, they had a lot to cover in this one first crossover DC crossover movie.
See, that's why, like, you take a page out of Marvel's book and drop a movie before this one.
They tried, but they fucking failed. Like,
I don't know.
Real talk,
Marvel
they failed.
Comes out with
setting up for the DC
movies when they don't even mean to. Ant-Man,
that was
not
good.
A hit. I don't think they expected it to be a hit like that. I mean, they probably didn't spend as much money on it as, say, Avengers or some of the big blockbuster movies. But it was a good movie. The story made sense, and it was a hit, you know? Like, what can you do? Like,
yeah, that was a hit. I think that was kind of unexpected. Like, I slept on Ant-Man. I ain't gonna lie. I slept on that junk. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, snap. I wish I had seen it in theater, honestly, because, like, there was action all through the movie. Yeah. It was funny. The character was great. Personalities were great.
It was kind of lighthearted. And,
yeah, it was.
DC wants to go with the more darker toned movie. Look at Man of Steel. Came out with, 2013? They should have dropped a movie between Man of Steel and this one to kind of, you know, ease us into this whole story.
You know what would have helped?
Yeah.
If they'd have dropped Suicide Squad before this. I think that would have been the thing, because Batman is in Suicide Squad. Spoiler alert, but I think everybody saw him in the preview.
In there to give us hints as to, you know, to build the mythos of this movie going into Batman vs. Superman, you know? So, I don't know, man. Like, like I said, it was a good-looking movie. I love the cinematography. Like, it just looked beautiful, you know, like, on screen. But
Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, Batman vs. Superman. Yeah. But they just didn't do enough. Like, you
people are saying it wasn't a beautiful movie. Like, some of the comments I heard was that it was just too... Like, some people were saying it looked lazy. And I don't agree. And I don't know if you saw that, because I didn't see that. I thought it was pretty good. I saw a couple awkward moments with Ben Affleck. As strange enough, Ben Affleck was not as good enough as a Bruce Wayne as I thought he would have been.
He was the strength of the movie.
He was.
Batman or Bruce Wayne was just good. It was like, that's when you were most into the movie. Like, Superman, they kind of made him one-dimensional. I don't know. He had some kind of emotional quibbles in the movie, but it just wasn't enough to...
Well, that's the thing. Superman is the most powerful being in the motherfucking planet universe at that point. So it's like, how much problems does he really have? Like, he doesn't really have bills. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't... Like, he may have bills, but he doesn't really have bills. He's Superman.
But just with the
you know what I'm saying? Like,
backlash of the fallout from Metropolis and, you know, what are we going to do with this guy? I mean... You know, maybe he could obviously run through us like we're nothing, you know, you run through the human race like a hot knife through butter, but his parents taught him better than that, you know. You have a choice. You can choose to be these people's protector, you know.
Well, all right, wait a minute.
So that's his struggle scene. Am I their protector, or do I need to be the, kind of like a dictator, you know, like,
the king.
Yes, because I can control these people. I think that's an internal conflict. I can control them, but maybe I should work with them and, be more of a peaceable kind of character instead of, forcing them to
Well, yeah.
Be
So
the way that
yes,
I want them to be.
but I think honestly, I think that's more Batman's conflict than Superman's conflict. Because Batman is worried that he'll make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Batman's worried, that he'll be like, all right, so everybody's fucking up. And apparently I got to step in and I got to run things. He did that in... You ever look at the Injustice game and the storyline?
I had the game.
So they have the game and there's a comic book series. Mm-hmm. And the comic book series, I don't know how... I didn't play the game, but I don't know how deep the game goes into it. But in the comic book series, they break it down.
On YouTube.
Oh, they do?
Mm-hmm. The whole cutscene.
So the whole thing is like Superman, like Joker fucks up, kills Lois Lane, Superman loses his shit, and just is like, all right, fine, I'm running shit. Because honestly,
turns into an evil dictator.
He does. Yeah,
they're setting that up. Like you saw that scene where the Batman was kind of like an undercover rogue kind of a dude. Yeah. Superman landed, and they all bowed to him. And
that's supposed to be like an alternate time stream.
I think they're setting up Injustice. I mean, I think that's what they're where they want to go.
I think you know what? Oh, dude. If they did do that, I think that would be better than... So, all right, imagine. They have... How many Superman movies have they made? This is like the 6th, 7th movie in time of Superman that they've made, let alone the flimsy TV series they've done over time. So imagine they just took this dark-ass DC scenario that they're building, and they just turned it to Injustice. Like... Dude,
I like that. I like the whole kind of dark side that the dark spin that they're having on the movies. I mean, Marvel movies are a little more lighthearted, jokey. You can take 6, 7-year-old to see it. Yeah, I think a lot of these movies are kind of aimed. I wouldn't mind if DC came out with movies that were more aimed at teenagers, PG-13, like a darker take to it, where Batman does, for all intents and purposes, kill people. I mean.
All right, wait a minute.
Superman killed people in Man of Steel, and nobody really.
Who did he kill in Man of Steel?
Man of Steel? No, he killed millions of people. That was a natural disaster.
All right, that wasn't him like
even before he started
punching
fighting,
holes through people. Though.
Even before he started fighting Zod, that machine was already above the Earth, terraforming Earth. That's killing people right there.
But that wasn't Superman. That was the villain. So that was Zod, collateral damage. All right,
it's collateral damage. He didn't.
Like that was a whole
throw a human being, 100 miles away from where they were. But when you punch Zod and Zod flies into an office building, who's populating that office building? You don't know for sure if that office building is evacuated or not. You have to assume that there were people.
All right, if you want to give it, you can chalk it up to carelessness, but that's still different than Batman killing people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't mind Batman killing people.
No, he can't kill people, dude.
You're not going to be out there.
That's the problem.
You're not going to be out there shooting guys with beanbag ammunition and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like you.
When Batman starts killing people, he's a Punisher. That's it.
They did more of an older Batman who had been around the block. He's seen what happened. Remember the Robin suit painted with the Joker? So
yeah, that's true.
And remember the Wayne Manor was burned down? Yeah. So you're supposed to get the sense that this whole other storyline has happened with Batman and we don't know about, which is why I said they could have came out with a movie between this that kind of led up to that,
They could have, but
you could have seen the Wayne Manor get burned down. You could have seen, maybe not necessarily the suit get painted with the Joker, the joke's on you. Yeah. You kind of got the idea from seeing the suit, but I mean.
Oh, dude, they're working on, is it the Killing Joke where that happens?
I think so. They got a whole bunch of animated
So the Killing Joke is the one where
DC
Joker
does good in their animated
movies. I don't remember the full story. Yeah. So anyway, but is that the one? That's not the one that Tim Drake got. I mean, not Tim Drake.
That was under the Red Hood, right?
Yeah, the one. Not Tim. Tim Drake is Jason. Mm-hmm. Jason Todd. So Jason Todd, he doesn't die in Killing Joke. He dies before Killing Joke, though.
I've never seen or read The Killing Joke.
I don't remember. I'll be honest.
I say seen. I don't know. Is it a movie already? Is Killing Joke a movie? I know it's a
no, it's not a movie. But they're working on the movie now. They're working on an animated movie now, and it's going to be rated R.
I never read it.
So I'm excited. Mm-hmm. Rated R animations.
I like the darker spin they put it on. I mean, a lot of times you get grown men going to see these superhero movies. So,
whoa, wait a minute. What's wrong with grown men going to see them? Like, that's perfect.
I'm a grown man, and I go to see it. So it would be okay to come out with a darker side of a.
I think you mean you have football jocks going to see them jokes.
I don't know.
Like,
I think it'd be all right.
The people who never paid attention to comic books before are going to see and are all in comic book movies now. I think that's what's happening.
True. It's a comic book genre. So that's what I'm saying. DC they have to get theirs while the market is there. So you have to come out with more movies, man. Don't try to jam so much storyline into one movie to the point where you can't spend enough time focusing on only one thing in Batman vs Superman to kind of build a connection to it. You know, even take something as simple as him getting the suit that he wore to fight Superman. Where did he get that suit from? That he just popped up and had the suit on. You couldn't show a scene where he built the suit or was talking about the suit. We saw a scene at the beginning of the movie where Alfred was kind of soldering a helmet or something, you know, but they didn't specify whether that was part of his regular Batman uniform, his outfit, or whether that was part of the superpowered kind of armor that he wore to fight Superman.
That's a good point. But we did have time to see Ben Affleck doing pull-ups and shit and working out. It was like, all right, we didn't need that. That shit was cool. It was cool showing that, you know, all right, Batman got some strength still. He's not flunky. Ben Affleck actually got to work it out.
Wear that suit. I mean, the suit would deliver and take a lot of damage, but he's still a man. He has to be...
He did go through a couple walls.
They could have shown some kind of a montage where he was working on the suit or trying out the suit, or
maybe mix it in with the workout scene.
Type of the suit and punch the wall and was like, we need to do this, you know, or I don't know.
That would have been cool, honestly. They spent a lot of time on that flashback or flash forward sequence. That was probably a good 10 minutes.
That was probably one of the best scenes.
That shit was dope though. All right, cool though. That was a good scene.
I love that flashback. I didn't understand it because they didn't do a good job of actually telling us what was going on at that time. That's what I'm saying. The editing let this movie down because they just jumped into everything.
They did.
Like, we didn't get a sense of, okay, what's happening? Okay, Batman's asleep. You know, he comes out, he's looking through his binoculars, and you see this kind of post-apocalyptic looking city in the background. You don't know what's going on. Like, Batman doesn't have on his regular cape. He has on a trench coat, you know, and he looks kind of roguish, like he's off on his own. And then all of a sudden, he just starts raiding some compound and beating up he gets caught trying to get a piece of equipment. We're not sure what's in the crate. That's what I'm saying.
True. We don't know what that was.
He just walks up to some crate and he's trying to get into it, and you know, they catch him and the soldiers come in and they got the Superman emblems on their shoulders. So you're like, oh, what the hell? Like, is these Superman's personal army?
Right. Did that happen in the last week? Do we flash forward a couple weeks, or what happened?
Like, it was like, man. Yeah. But I love that scene though, man. That joint was tight with them. What do they call it? Paratroopers? I don't know. The paratroopers. The guys with the flying wings when they're scooping up people.
All right. So I thought that was weird. I don't think aliens need to drop in.
Those are Darkseid's.
Oh, those were you think those are Darkseid's people?
If you look at I watched a video on YouTube, you look at Darkseid soldiers in the animated series, they do have wings. Yeah,
but those look like bugs.
Yeah, they do. They do look more like bugs. What did these guys look like? I can't even remember.
Darkseid dudes look like, I don't know, monster, demon. It depends on, it depends on what you watch. Because then a couple in the comic books and the animated cartoon, they look different every time. But you know what? I did make that connection. I didn't realize that they were Darkseid's, what do you call them, Jones?
Soldiers or...
changelings?
Yeah,
no,
something like that.
Anyway.
We both know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about.
And we're pretty sure you guys do too.
Yeah, y'all know what you're talking about. Darkseid. But alright, so what about bringing in the other characters? Like bringing in Wonder Woman? Like, I
liked it.
I thought she was... I liked it. She was a lot better than I thought she'd be.
She was. I just wish we'd have seen... I don't know. It kind of wasn't that bad. I was about to say I wish we would have seen more of her as Wonder Woman in the movie. But her reveal would have been better if they didn't release it in the trailer prior to coming out with the movie. Like, if we didn't know that she was going to be standing there blocking this blast from Batman.
Yeah.
And that just happened in the movie, you would be like, oh, snap. Like,
I'll be honest, I avoided the trailer, so I didn't know that part.
You probably wouldn't know who it was. Maybe that's why they did it in the trailers, because if she just did that in the movie, you'd be like, yo, is that the lady that Bruce Wayne was talking to in the dinner? You know what I mean? Like, is that her?
I was like, that's Selena Kyle? I was like, is that Catwoman? Because at first I was like, is that Catwoman? And then I realized, oh wait, that's Wonder Woman. Because I didn't see that trailer. Like, I knew Wonder Woman was going to be in it, but I kind of avoided the trailer. So I was watching the movie. I was like, all right, is Catwoman going to be in this movie at some point? Then I was like, oh wait, that's probably Wonder Woman. As, we went through it. And I was like, okay. And then they had an old ass picture And then Batman emailed her.
Yeah, and the reveal of the other characters, man, I loved it, man. I loved that Aquaman scene where he was just...
That was dope.
He did look uncomfortable in the water. I mean, he looked like he was just floating there like... You know what I mean? Like, he was really holding his breath. But, like, when he took off and did the little... What did he do?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he did. He looked uncomfortable. Like, you look at his face, he was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, he was really him in the water.
Get the seat.
Get the seat. But, like, when he speared, didn't he spear the camera or something like that? It was like a probe or something. And when he took off, it was cool. I was like, yo, I want to see Aquaman's movie.
Yeah.
The Flash, he looked a little younger than I kind of wanted him to look.
He did.
He looked like some random guy of X-Men or X-Men movie, some random mutant or something.
He looked Mexican.
That Cyborg scene, I love that joint, though. And that's why I like that, that article you were talking about so much. But I love that Cyborg scene, man, when he was getting put together. And you're like, yo, what the heck is going on, man? Like, this, all you see is what do he have, like a head and an arm or something?
Yeah, like his body's pretty much like mutilated. He's just in that joint, just and then the boom tube, apocalypse device is sitting there pulsating, and then it just
was weird, man.
Does something. I don't know. We don't know what happens. We don't know what happens.
I want to see it.
It's gonna be good.
One part I didn't like though, we should have saw Batman opening that file and not Wonder Woman. Like, you have to let.
He sent it to her, right?
He did send it to her, like you said, the email or whatever it was. But you should have let us dive more into the psyche of Batman. And, like, remember at the end of the movie, he's like, you need to find these other people who are like you because I have a feeling we're going to need them. Because I didn't understand that.
She was like,
how does he know that?
What do you mean like me?
Remember, he had that vision after he fell asleep after that dream sequence where the Flash... I didn't understand all this after I watched the movie and saw the reviews, and I was like, okay, now I understand. The Flash came back to him in after that dream sequence.
Right,
and warned him, yo, she's the key. Lois is the key, blah, blah, blah. So that's
Injustice.
why I think they're setting up Injustice, exactly.
Yeah.
But we should have saw Batman.
You know what? All right, I'm just throwing this out there because I'm a man. All right, this is about to sound super chauvinistic, and I'm not. But I want them to kill Lois Lane because I want injustice to happen.
Oh.
And also, romances and action movies annoy the hell out of me on so many levels. It never fails. They always throw a romantic, a love interest in a movie that's amazing, and it completely it detracts. Like, I guess they need to slow down at some point, but honestly,
you can't always have action all the time. Sometimes you might want out of the action.
I don't know if I completely agree with that. You can slow down if they explain why they're about to kill each other. You can slow down there. But I don't need them to be like, try to save a chick.
Every movie has an action beat, or a love beat to it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you have to.
All right, we can kill Lois Lane for injustice, though. That's fair.
You have to. I think you have to at this
fair.
point. Like, I mean, you spent so much time with that on the movie, that whole flashback, and I totally did not get that part. They didn't make it clear enough that was Flash. They tried to shove too much into this movie, man. They could have just spread some of this out and let us feel what was going on. Like,
that was a thing, though. Like,
that we should have saw Batman opening that flash drive. Like, he should have been the one to discover, there's more people like Superman. Like, there's more people like Wonder Woman. She already knows who she is. She knows she's superpowered. She's been around for years. You know what I mean? Like, she knows what she is. We should have saw Batman as the human being, as the man, looking at this like, there are more superpowered people here. You know what I mean? Maybe I should start some kind of protocol to control these people. You know what I mean?
But wait a minute.
Because essentially, Batman is the protector of the human race. Because he is a man.
He's a human of the race of the Justice League.
Yeah, I mean,
he's the only
is
human.
He the only human? Yeah, he's the only human. I mean,
it's him and everybody else is modified some way. Like, other than like maybe some detective or somebody else. Like, I don't know, Sherlock Holmes or somebody jumps in there. I don't know, but it's like he is the only man, like regular human, in the entire Justice League, and it's kind of his responsibility, and that's why he has tabs on everything. Like, so in a way, I feel like of course he knew. He sent it to her because she might not have known, but of course he knew. Like, I always assumed that Batman would have known. Like, that's his role. Like, as being the genius he is.
He knew after he got that flash drive, after he downloaded that encrypted data from LexCorp or whatever. Remember, she
that's a good point.
Little thing on there.
So honestly, LexCorp knew.
That's
for
what I'm saying. We should have saw him open that and discover that as the man, the person. Because honestly,
I can dig.
What other character in the movie were we more connected to than Batman? I mean, we saw him as Batman and as Superman. Like, we understood Batman's motivations in the movie more than we understood Superman's motivations. Anybody else's.
This was Batman's movie.
Like, I mean, we saw him in Metropolis when Superman was fighting Zod, and we saw the destruction, and, you know, the little girl's mother was in the destroyed building, and he was a man. He can't hang with Superman, you know? Mm-hmm. So he's like, I have to do something to control this person, you know? I like this spin on the movie. I like the movie. I just wish they would have spread some of this stuff out and give it more time to breathe and not be so edity, you know? Like,
they were like Marvel did it. Like, but that's the thing. They failed on so many DC movies in the past.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so the only really one that pops into my head.
I love Man of Steel.
Man of Steel? Yeah. All right, so that was their success.
I love
but
that.
Green Lantern was shit.
I like Green Lantern too.
I didn't like dude, man.
It wasn't.
I couldn't dig that jump. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I love Hal Jordan, dude. Like Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner were my two faves, and Jon Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jon Stewart's cool because he's black, but you know. But it's just like I just didn't feel like it was right. Like I didn't get the personality, I didn't get the jokes. I just felt like Ryan Reynolds trying to play Hal Jordan was not. I mean, I feel like he could have, but it wasn't. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't. He didn't hit it off.
Marvel, they tried to play it kind of like a lighthearted kind of Marvel movie. I think if it would have been a little more serious, kind of in the vein of Man of Steel.
Yeah, like if they'd have darkened it a little bit.
Yeah, it might have been. It
was cheesy.
Better. But I liked it for what it was. I mean, the movie didn't take itself seriously. It didn't take itself as serious as Man of Steel did, or Batman vs Superman.
You think that has to do with like the who owns the rights to these DC characters? I don't know who owns the rights to DC characters, but
I don't either.
It's like they don't seem to be connected. And I think Superman and Batman, like Batman vs Superman. I mean, of course, it's the same movie, but that was the first time they had two DC characters working in conglomeration to create something new, mm-hmm. and they pulled in, of course, all the other characters. So they have one studio now working towards a direction, which I think is probably going to. I hope they redo Green Lantern with Kyle Rayner or Jon Stewart.
I think they were trying to make up some ground and cover a lot of things in this movie. They just shoved too much into the movie. Like they want to catch up to Marvel, which you can't just do. Even if you shove a whole bunch of shit into this one movie, you can't just catch Marvel. Like you have to slowly build it over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any movie you come out with, don't even worry about an Aquaman movie. People are not going to go see the Aquaman movie. The fans who go see these movies will go see Aquaman. If you come out with the movie, just drop it. Just make the movie, drop it. It doesn't matter if it's cheesy. People will take their kids to see it. And they just will. You might not get good reviews, critic-wise, or...
But that's money, though. So these are runners' businesses. If they don't feel like they're going to get a good turnaround, they're not going to make it.
True that.
Like, they just going to be like, you know what? We don't... Because they don't care about the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They just in that joint for the dough.
What do they call it? Don't they have like a certain percentage of money that they actually have to make up?
Yeah,
when they drop a movie, it's like
and then make it and then make past that
like you have to
for
break
the profits,
even, and then you have to surpass the even mark to really
to a certain extent, right?
That they want to do. But I got a question. What did you think about Batman's suit? Did you like his suit? I'm talking about the regular Batman uniform.
Yeah, honestly, I liked it. It reminded me of. Look, it
reminded
me of
Superpower one.
No, I liked his original, the regular gray. Because they were, you know, what it reminded me of was the Batman animated series. Mm. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a kid. When I grew up, I was watching that when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of looked like it was made of the same material as Superman's suit. Like it was some kind of Kevlar.
Yeah. I like the fact it was gray
over top of a armored.
Yeah.
Suit underneath, you know, like it was kind of double layered, you know. It didn't just look like he was wearing a fully leather suit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
He couldn't turn his head. I mean, I liked it. And
that don't seem like more realistic. More realistic, I guess.
I wish they could have did it in some of the way that they did Iron Man. Because, I mean, remember when Tony Stark, in the first Iron Man movie, when he was actually making the armor?
Yeah.
And they showed him messing around with the phasers and putting together the arm and, you know what I mean? Like, I wish we could see some more of that because Batman being a human being, you would have to think that he has to have some kind of strength-enhancing suit, endurance-enhancing suit to wear. Like, he can't just wear leather. You
Gotta
know what I
fight
mean?
Bane. Yeah.
So if you look at Batman and Batman vs Superman, it did look like it was a little more armored underneath. You know, looked like it was a little more armored. And I don't know. I like the movie overall. I liked it. It could have been better. They gave it a 7.2 on Metascore. So I think that's about right. Out of 10, I'd give this a 7.2.
Yeah,
I mean, you got other movies.
That's fair. That's fair. I get that jump.
You got
Rotten Tomatoes shit all over that jump.
9.8 and all this other stuff. I mean, it's decent.
What about that? So Cyborg though. So that Cyborg article I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
So you read that joint. What do you think about that joint, man? Because I don't know. I felt some of those points, but at the same time, I felt like the guy was kind of reaching some.
He was reaching a little bit.
Like we was talking about Cyborg being like, what was it, Hulk and driving Miss Daisy, and he was like Cyborg being Morgan Freeman, like just driving around with his boom tubes, like he's driving all the Justice League around with his boom tubes. I was like, hold on, man, like that's not really fair, because he's the only person that got boom tubes. It's like,
yeah, you would.
It's not a show force situation.
Reaching a little bit, but sometimes you have to kind of look at these undertones of mainstream media, because they are run by rich white men for the most part. I mean,
quote unquote white
had
folks.
These companies for years and years, and you know they pass them down through the generations. I mean, culturally, we are not the same as them. You know, they don't look at us like we're the same. And we don't look at them like they're the same. You know, when you see a white person, you say, oh, they're white. It's a white person, you know? And
when they see a black person, they say, oh, he's black.
It's a black. It's more of a communal
it's not,
sense.
Yeah, it's like you have that understanding.
You are black.
But like, as far as like Cyborg goes, and the way they're describing was like I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, in a way, like, so how are a lot of famous black people relatable to the world? Like, if you go to anywhere in the world, people know black people as rappers or musicians, athletes, or thugs. And that's it. Like, there's those three. You never find a trope of a black man as in a business suit or a CEO of a company. So what they used for Victor Stone was he was an athlete, a football player who had a freak accident, the right place at the right time, got turned into a cyborg.
Because I pulled up the article. Okay, so
who wrote it anyway? Do you remember?
Who wrote the article? SonOfBaldwin. Yeah. But it says, Hannah Juice.
Definitely.
Made me lose my place, man.
Oh, sorry. Bobby, yeah. But it was definitely a WordPress article.
Okay, here we go. Cyborg, aka Victor Stone, was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. It says that he spent a great deal of time mourning his plight as an accident turned him from a star athlete into a human/machine hybrid. Even though this accident gave Cyborg powers beyond those of mere mortals, he considered himself a freak. All he wanted was to be a regular, in quotations, human, being the rest of his time was mostly spent secretly longing for a white woman, Sarah Sims, who teaches him how to love himself. So yeah, I mean, all right. Star athlete, they pretty much hit all the tropes of
they did. Black guy wanting a white woman.
The opinion of the black man in the world at large. Yeah. Athlete, wants a white woman. He's not satisfied with himself. He longs to try to be a regular human being. You know, so if you dig there, you can find certain aspects where it makes you scratch your head and say, "Wait a minute, were they trying to imply something?" You know,
I don't think consciously. I don't think consciously. Like, all right, so the only interesting characters you have, the only characters with depth, are the characters that have an internal play. Like, if they're always finding people on the outside, eventually you're just gonna find out, all right, well, fine, this person is just a fighter. He doesn't have any issues. And that makes him a lot less relatable to a lot of people. So him being turned into a cyborg, and he's like, what, 30% human?
Mm-hmm.
I would be fucking fucked up kind of too.
You know, kind of wondering
I would be kind of,
But they
Here
consciously chose to make his love interest a white woman.
That was
they
the thing.
Could have done it to be politically correct. You know, say, hey, it doesn't matter. Love will strike from wherever. You know,
in the story right now, I'm kind of working on that aspect. It was like I do want, for some reason, you have this. If you're writing a story, you're creating a story, you want black characters. You also have to have a diverse mix of characters to be able to be relatable in the United States. Yeah. So you can't have all black characters because everybody's gonna write it off like, they're just trying to make an all black something. They're trying to be exclusive, you know. But at the same time, it's like, all right, the black guy was going after the white women.
Well, see,
I guess in the 80s, because what it was like 82, they came up with Cyborg. Yeah, it was like, I guess.
Hold on, let's read down. It says, during his emotional love affair with the white woman, Sims, Stone, who was Cyborg, was in a relationship with another woman, a black scientist by the name of Dr. Sarah Charles. So, are they trying to say that...
He was cheating.
He was cheating, basically. I mean, are they trying to say that
trope.
he couldn't emotionally connect with the black woman? And he had to go to turn to the white woman to feel a sense of self-worth? I mean, you could look at it that way. I mean, there are people who could look at it that way. At the same time, there are people who could look at it like, lighten up, man. Okay, they're just trying to make a diverse, interesting story about a character who got turned into 85% machine, and he wants to try to find himself, and he's trying to reach out and connect with people emotionally, and he couldn't help it that it was a white woman that he connected with and not his wife who he was in a relationship with. I mean, do we know if this Sarah Charles, if she built him? Did she build Cyborg?
No, his father built him.
Okay, so what kind of relationship could he have with her? Did he have a relationship with her before he was Cyborg?
I don't know.
Because that changes the dynamic. If he turned into a cyborg after that, and then he met the white woman, and he kind of connected with her on an emotional level after his traumatic experience of being turned into a cyborg, then you're kind of like, all right, you know.
Like, I feel like I would have to go back and read through the comic, see what the story was. But even still, somebody wrote that story, so it's not like it was an actual incident. Somebody wrote it out this way. So it was like, why couldn't he have had his emotional support with the black scientist who he was dating apparently at the time, where he was trying to find the love of this white woman? You know, like, who was she a scientist too, or she was just some lady? I don't know, but I feel like maybe they were kind of trying to play on the trope that black men cheat, which is not even always true. Mm-hmm. It's not even mostly true.
Not even always true. Honestly, I don't care if you're black or white.
Men fucking cheat. You know what I'm saying? God damn it.
I mean, it's just how we're built, how we're programmed. You know,
there's this book written.
You will be attracted to other women. We just, you know, even if you have the love of your life, the woman you're in love with, you're married, you're happily married, and you don't want to cheat. If a woman walks by and she has a fat ass, you're going to look back and be like, damn, she got a fat ass.
Because it's in our DNA. So look, there's this book called The Dawn of Sexuality, which was written by, I don't remember his name, but it's pretty much, it runs this entire idea of the prehistoric origins of modern sexuality. So it pretty much goes back in time, breaking out biologically and historically why not only men, but women in our Homo sapiens species would and do cheat, you know? It's just part of our genetics. Like, even the way our sexual organs are shaped, you know, are ways of ensuring our procreation, our genetic procreation. Like, in times, like, in the event that there were many men and one woman, like, we were all tribal, we were all nomadic. So it was like, even in times way back then, we were nomadic. Like, there may not have been enough women for every man, or enough women or men for every woman, you know? And they just had to get it how they can get it. And they did. They got their pleasure. They reproduced. They kept the tribe going. And everybody took care of the children. Everybody took care of the family. Everybody took care of the tribe, because the tribe was family. And that's just what it was, you know?
I think for most human beings,
it's written by Christopher Ryan.
The instinct to procreate is always there. I mean, it's programmed in your DNA. That's what we do. extend the human race. What separates us from animals, it's the same thing for animals. The male lion, he doesn't stick with one mate his whole lifespan. I mean, he mates with a suitable female to procreate. That's just, it's in your DNA, and how do you procreate? You have sex. So it's natural to have sexual urges, and because that's what we do as mammals. But what separates humans from animals is the ability to love, and that's what.
I don't know though. I don't think that's a separation though, because they're animals that love.
Instinctually love. I don't think that's part of their instincts. Their instincts are eat, sleep, shit, procreate, and extend my life.
Yeah, okay. I guess shit is an instinct. I can do that. Sometimes you gotta shit. Human.
I mean, it's an instinct.
You gotta go handle that shit.
If I get an urge to shit, I'm like, damn, it's like a spider sense. I gotta shit. So, but
tingling in the back of my mind.
I think what separates us is the ability to love, and that's when you choose. You can love a woman. Speaking as a man, you can love a woman and still cheat on her, but that love is what keeps you kind of maybe coming back, and it's what keeps the woman coming back to the man. Even as a woman, you can love a man and cheat on him and still love him. That's what keeps you coming back.
I think
that's what separates us.
I think there's many shades to that argument. Like, I think there's exceptions. I think there's exceptions to every rule. If there's a rule, I think there's an exception to it in every instance. Like, I know for a fact that animals do love. Certain animals, there's a huge range of intelligence and emotional spectrum for different species of animals. And there's a lot of animals out there. But I think as far as humans go, like, some women cheat and still love their, man. Maybe they're just looking for something in the moment, and some women only cheat when they're done. Mm-hmm. And they just, they're looking for a reason to move on, I think that's just how, things as an individual, people just kind of work differently, man. You can't really, it's hard to call it sometimes with people. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
We are complex beings.
We are.
Okay, but look. So going back to this Cyborg article, and the title of the article is, sorry we didn't mention this at the beginning of transitioning to it, but Humanity Not Included, DC's Cyborg and the Mechanization of the Black Body.
Speaking of that, sorry.
All right, but hold on. Let me read this while I'm thinking of it. All right, so it says that Victor Stone, who is Cyborg, and this also relates to some of the issues that we're dealing with today, as far as with the rioting and all the social issues and social uprisings. Victor Stone whined and complained and was possessed of a great deal of self-pity, which seemed to be some sort of subtextual commentary on how white people feel about black people's complaints regarding structural and social anti-black racism and white supremacy. Do you think there's any credence to that? I like that because
I think
it kind of is. You choose what to put into these comics, these books, these movie shows, these movies, these TV shows. They have to run through a gauntlet. You have to get these approved by people. And if they don't want something to come through and they don't want something to be spoken or talked about or portrayed a certain way, they won't let it come through. They're going to let it come through to favor their ideals and what they want to promote as far as social structure. So, I mean, we are not that far removed from, civil rights days. And I mean, it's only been 80 years. I mean, and that was the end of slavery. Has it even been 200 years yet? I mean, just about, maybe. I mean, it takes time for those kind of ideals to fade out of society. So wouldn't it make sense that the white men who are controlling a large number of the what do you call it? The social and
spectrum. Yeah,
I mean, just the TV stations, the radio, all these sites to spread information. Media sites. Wouldn't it make sense that they're actually pushing it in a certain sense of thought or a way of thought, direction of thinking? You know what I mean? I mean. Yeah, I
think that's a good way to push.
Subtextual. I mean, why can't Cyborg be upbeat and positive like Superman? Is it because they want to try to promote some kind of idea that, black people are not as we're complainers and we don't do anything about digging out of our situation, or
we don't quote unquote pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, our own bootstraps,
and make $1. This is America, you can it's the land of the free. You can do what you want, when they control most of everything. But anyway, or is it just an idea to give this character some complexity and say that, hey, he's not just a surface character. He has deeper layers to him that you have to try to dig to understand. I think it would make you question your humanity, and if you got turned into 80% cyborg, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to look at this.
If you turn into 80% cyborg, you have some shit to complain about.
I mean, you're
like
not
you
human.
do. That's just it. And that's not a self-created situation. I think as far as Cyborg goes, that's kind of a stretch for the guy to argue that this is a representation of black men complaining about a situation they created for themselves. I think that's kind of a stretch. But at the same time, I'm not saying that that's not something that could or even has been slipped into media. So media is a tricky thing, whereas some people at the top agree that this is an okay thing to put out there for everybody's visual and mental consumption, and then have it kind of just become a baseline understanding of a certain people. Like that's why every movie that's ever been interesting as far as black people go has been a movie about football, dealing with football, coming out of the ghetto and becoming a football player or actor or some shit, or just been a thug in the ghetto. Like there's these tropes, and these tropes are played over and over and over again. Or the slave, of course, the slave trope, the heroic slave trope was like, oh, he was good, he was great, and he was powerful, and he rose from this situation, But I like the idea that Cyborg actually he had a legitimate issue.
Trauma.
That's trauma. Like,
that's not
like,
even on
who
a racial
else?
scale. That's on a human being scale. Your body got
his body
destroyed.
was torn apart
Yeah,
and replaced with cybernetic alien technology. It's like that's a fucking problem that nobody else is experiencing. Nobody else. It doesn't matter who it is. Nobody else is experiencing that shit. Yeah. So I feel like maybe the guy was stretching a little bit on that argument.
Sometimes maybe you should keep it to a comic book medium instead of a social commentary medium, where it's like they're trying to say something about the class structure and digging deep into it and trying to pull the politics out of it. Maybe just take it as a comic book, or a movie or a cartoon. It's just
take it as
something to create conflict,
Yeah.
But
I mean,
at the same time,
if
they don't want some of this stuff coming through, they wouldn't let it through. He could have just as easily been a cyborg who realized that, man, with this power, I can do great things, and maybe not complain so much about his actual plight at the moment, but spend that time helping people and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, man. You can look at it from both sides.
They could have made Cyborg into a scientist who created some amazing technology. They could have made Cyborg into Iron Man. Mm-hmm. He created an amazing technology and created himself a cyber suit. They could have made that story. He's just a black guy. They could have made that story. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll be honest. Cyborg is what we have. Cyborg is Cyborg, and honestly, as a character, I find him pretty interesting.
I wish I read more about him. I wish it came out with a movie or maybe a video game.
Yeah, like a solo Cyborg movie would actually be really good
for these type of topics too, because they flesh out some of the storyline, and flesh out things that you wouldn't necessarily get watching a movie or even a cartoon on WB or something like that.
That's true.
A little more focused towards the older people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, I
definitely like it.
I don't know. You can look at it from either or angle. I just, sometimes you have to be a little more lighthearted when dealing with these subjects. But I thought it was an interesting article overall.
Mm.
Anything else to say about this? Or you wanna...
Cyborg ain't got no balls.
Yeah, I read that. I mean,
this ain't got no balls, no dick.
80% of your body is gone. I mean, would your balls really be left? That's a good chance your balls will be taken, along with your legs and your torso.
Apparently they were. But I was thinking, so my argument is,
could he...
What is Cyborg...
semen?
What is... I don't know.
Yeah,
you don't have balls.
How much of his internal body was...
Do you need balls to create semen? I think you do. But hold on. Here's the thing. So... one of his arguments was they emasculated Cyborg because of the accident that caused him to lose 80% of his body, right? 30%, whatever. But
this was
he can create.
too,
it was. I read the whole John too, which is pretty rare for me. But part of his ability, as far as I know Cyborg's all of his. I'm not a Cyborg like super fan, but he can create like constructs from the cybernetics he has. He creates different weapons. They just pop out of shit. Why can't he create like fucking Super Dicks 5000? They just had that joint just ready. It's like anytime you down, boom, it's just there.
I think so.
I don't think that would be an issue. Like I think if that was some shit that he needed to do and he was down to fuck, he had a relationship with a black chick.
Hold on, this was a really interesting article. It was long, but they had a lot of good points that really made you think. So it said, so of course, speaking about Cyborg, in the comic mythos, he's an athlete. And of course, he plays football. White supremacy must always find some productive use in black bodies, must always be able to capitalize off of our labor. Oftentimes, when white writers are attempting to write black characters, they rely on stereotypes because they can't imagine black people as actual human beings. These are the creations of people who don't know any/many black people, but have seen plenty of them at basketball games or on television, or maybe even had a beer with one once, and consider them a quotation marks friend.
I think that last part is true.
For the most part, that's true. I mean,
all right. So
I don't want to say black people. They specifically related to football, and football is just a grimy sport. I mean, it just really is. I mean, white or black, if you get injured, you go down any type of way, and you can't serve the team. A lot of times you're cut, you're done. I mean, the average NFL lifespan is 2 years, 2 seasons. I mean, so if you play for 14 years, that's you're an anomaly. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it says they have to always find a way to be productive and use black bodies and capitalize off our labor. That would be true if we didn't live in a capitalist society where white people, black people, Hispanic people, everybody works retail jobs. Dollar, everybody serves a purpose to generate dollars and move the economy. I mean, I think right now we are all slaves, the dollar, and I think that people at the top, the 1%, they use all of our labor and all of our manpower, brain power to capitalize and fund and push the economy forward. I mean, maybe I don't know. This guy is reaching sometimes, but it does.
He is reaching sometimes.
It makes you think.
Look, the last part about Cyborg being the reference for a lot of these people who create like stories, like they may not have a lot of black friends, real black friends, or growing up in areas with a lot of black people. Like imagine, like if your only real reference of people of an entire race of people
is football and music, Fetty Wap,
music,
or,
exactly.
Drake.
We're in the entertainment, and then we're in the hoods where you're not going. You're not going there, and then you may have one or two that may pop up as a rarity in your day-to-day life. You may have had a beer with one once at some point, and be like, he's kind of cool.
I mean, how many white people did you really grow up with and kind of understand on a level where you might call them your brother or your best friend? I mean, I know me, through my job, I deal with a lot of white people, but I don't have a lot of white people intricately involved in my life, to the point where, I hang out with them and do a podcast on a Saturday night, like you. I mean, I would if I knew any, but I don't know.
They just don't fall into your circle.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't.
And we grew up in a diverse area, dude. Like, we have a diverse area, but
I mean, you see
people do click up. I don't know why, but it is true. We click up.
I think that's just a human trait. You naturally gravitate towards people of the same color or the same cultural background.
You know what somebody brought up to me today? I was leaving Capoeira. I went down to the Capoeira class in Woodbridge, and I was in the locker room changing, and this guy came up, and he was like, "Hey, I see y'all out there, man. Y'all look really cool out there, man." I was like, "Hey, man, you should join us sometime." He was like, "Yeah, I used to do Capoeira back in the day." He said he grew up in Rio, in Brazil. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And we just started talking a little bit, and at some point he mentioned how music, like, even though there's so many different kinds of people out there, like he's half white, half Brazilian, right? Mm-hmm. And he would go down there to see his dad in the summers, and how when he was down there, one thing he always found kind of interesting between contrasts of living in the U.S. and then living down in Brazil is that in Brazil, everybody listens to the same music. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from, what color you are, everybody listens to the same music. And I found that really interesting because he said when he came up here, we are all kind of clicked off according to the types of music we will listen to. So like, you have people who listen to hip hop, and you have people that listen to rock, and people listen to country, and people listen to solely classical, or and everybody who listens to music, a certain kind of music, is generally categorized towards a certain way. Like, you have every segment. Like, you have segments of hip-hop, you have pop, you have gangster rap, I guess, if that's still a thing, and you still have, like, conscious music, you know, and in rock, you have heavy metal and different, like, versions, but in Brazil, like, everybody's listening to, I don't know, like, samba, like, everybody's listening and dancing the same music. They're doing samba, they're doing kizomba, they're doing these kind of dances, and everybody mixes that. And I thought it was, like, really interesting. I was like, there's still there's definitely some class situations out there and some racial situations. But as a unity...
You never escape, like, a racial situation, really.
You don't, but I find, like, I don't know. I just thought that was super interesting how, like, people interact. And they don't have that barrier.
I think a lot of it has to do with the history of us as well. I mean, you know, this country is relatively young. And just these kind of ideals and morals don't easily fade out of the human psyche. I mean,
but Brazil's not much older than us.
We're not that much. This country was founded off racism. It was founded off differences in class structure, and you're you and I'm me, and we're different. You know what I mean? That's just what the foundation of this country was built on. I mean, from the time they brought black people to America, it was, okay, you're black, you're a slave, you know, you're the worker, you're the laborer. And not that they didn't have white people that were not rich. And I mean, they had poor white people who weren't in the same class structure or a social structure as their white counterparts, but they were in the same race structure. You know what I mean? Yeah, you were poor and you weren't on my level, but you're still a white man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's different, man. This country was founded differently, and those things don't just fade out so easily, man. Those things take, years to fade out. I mean, countries that are much older than us, France and European countries, African countries, you have a white guy go to Uganda in Africa, you're still a white man, you know what I mean? Like, you're a white guy, you know? Like, you're not from here, you're white, you know? Or they might have white Ugandans who moved there, have lived there for a time, but you always have racial differences and racial classes.
I don't think like some are going to grow out.
You said it's defined by music, because that's true. If a guy comes in listening to straight country music, you'll think, man, he's a country bumpkin. You know, he must have grew up in the country somewhere, or you know, it does. Like, the kind of music you listen to kind of generally pushes you toward a certain class. Maybe except for hip hop. Like, is there any difference to a white man who never listens to hip hop or knows any black people, whether you listen to Drake or Common Sense?
Yes.
Is there a difference?
Yeah. I think there is. I think a person who listens to... I think there is a difference between a person who listens to Drake and a person who listens to... All right,
you think that, but does a white man think that? Does the average white man think that?
Who listens to black people listen to it?
If you pull up bumping 1999, or you pull up bumping what's it called? Jumpman.
Nah.
If you pull up bumping Jumpman, is that white man gonna think? Yeah, he's gonna think that's a black dude. He's not gonna think that's a socially aware, self-conscious black man right there.
Oh, all right. I see what you're saying.
Like, he's gonna think that's a black dude. He's just bumping that hip hop shit. I'm just rolling my window up. You know what I mean?
Because we playing that shit loud still.
So
like, so there's a thing where you never hear fucking redneck. Oh, all right. Probably should have read it. But you probably, but you
I
never
think
hear.
With this podcast, we have to be a little more socially conscious. I'm using the word socially a lot, but we might have different people, listening to this, and even black people, they don't want to hear us using.
Hey y'all, this is
all the time.
This is our first show, so please.
Yeah, it's a run through.
It is first show. Give me a break. All right, so
hope it's been entertaining so far.
Like Jeb Bush is.
But
Give me a break.
Even black people that are listening, they might not want to hear us say the word nigga every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
I don't think you said that yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But just
Ooh, you said it.
Yeah, no, right. Just like ding.
He's got a flag.
Hey man.
Yeah, man. Like so. All right. So yes, a white man who sees whether you playing common, gaining one's definition, or some Lil Wayne. They're like, black people playing rap. But at the same time, if I listen, I don't know the difference between Garth Brooks and any other country singer who I don't know any other names. Like that's it. That's all I got.
I don't think I've listened to one full Garth Brooks song in my lifetime.
I don't think I've listened to any. I just know that's the country guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that is that. So I wonder, like, what we would be like if we all had a singular kind of universal dance or music that we kind of listen to. Like I'm sure there's definitely variations of music in Brazil. Like I'm not saying there's just everybody listens to samba all the time, all day, but they do have a root cultural music.
You could be in a club with people from South Brazil, North Brazil, West Brazil, East Brazil. The same song come on, and everybody would jump up and start partying to that song. Yeah, I understand
exactly. So this is like I wonder if that would help our relationship.
Music is a universal language, and whether it's country, soft rock, hardcore, heavy metal, or hip hop, if a song comes on and the bass line beat, not the lyrics, but maybe the beat comes on, whether you listen to that type of music or not, you kind of feel the beat. Yeah. It's a universal thing. It's definitely, music has no language. You can play a song from Brazil, a Brazilian song, and you'll hear the beat. It might have a fast tempo to it, like a lot of Latin songs do. But if you feel the beat or not, it's really up to that person because you understand that beat. You understand it. You can hear it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. What if music is a unifying thing. It's crazy. There are other ways that we all connect. Sports is a good way. I mean, going back to the Cyborg article, football.
That's true.
Football brings white people, black people, and it doesn't matter. The NFL is largely African American. I mean, there's probably about 70% African American players in the NFL. But whether you're white, black, Hispanic, Mexican, whatever, you get hurt or injured or no longer serve the purpose of the team, you'll get cut. It don't matter if you're white, black, or whatever. So there's no
you out, son.
Yeah, you're out. So there's no
racial
help. Differences there. You can't help the team. You're done. So but it is a unifying force in the sense that I can sit right next to a white guy who listens to country music, who doesn't know that many black people, and I don't know that many white people, and we can sit there and root for the same team and have a common basis of conversation where we want this team to win and we want to see this team progress and do well. So we do have our own kind of unifying things. I mean,
we do.
It all serves the same base.
But the thing is, like, on this level of sports, so the rest of the world watches soccer. It's like America only watches football.
American style football. American style football is getting more
forgive
popular.
me for the semantic exchange, but
it's getting more popular overseas, man. I think it's just soccer.
Nobody plays football outside. Nobody plays American football outside America.
They're trying to start it. They're trying to get a team in England. They had a European league at one point, but they weren't getting much fan support, so they canceled that drink. They're trying to get a Mexican team.
Really?
They
right,
I mean, they're trying to expand. I mean, these guys who own these teams are billionaires, man. They trying to, what's a billionaire do? They have a side of their brain that only thinks about making money. I mean, so it's there's no kind of humanity to it. It's like make money at all costs. But this African guy put it to me real well one time. He said, "Man, what do you need to play soccer?"
Can you do the accent?
Of course. I mean, this dude's straight up from Ghana. You know what I mean? He liked American football. He said you couldn't have American football in Ghana because guys would be putting shit on their fingertips to blind people and shit. He'd be throwing dust in your eyes and shit. And he said that you need. He said, you know how you can tackle people in football. He said people be picking people up and slamming them. You know what I mean? So he's like, you can't have no. It wouldn't be no rules and shit. I was like, man, what about gamesmanship, man? Like sportsmanship, you know? He was like, what sportsmanship, man?
Nah, son.
But he said, like, what do you need to play soccer?
Yo, I never thought about that.
Me neither, yeah. I was like, yo, he's probably right. These dudes be over there poking each other's eyes and whatnot. There's a lot of rules over here, you know? But yo, he said,
you be going for the knees, yo.
Yo, I'm telling you, just straight up crack back blocking people. Crack back block.
Alright, yeah, okay, but, I can dig it.
He said,
that's dangerous.
What do you need to play soccer? You need 2 goals, a ball, and people to play the game.
Yeah.
What do you need to play American football? A helmet, shoulder pads, knee pads. You need referees. Well, not necessarily, but he's like soccer is just a much simpler.
You need a bigger
play.
field. Like, I mean, not even bigger field for a legal soccer game. You need a big field, but for just playing soccer regularly, like you don't need that much room. You just want to play. But if you're playing football regularly, you still need distance.
You need area.
Yeah, you need area. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah, he was just saying that you know, it's just easier to play soccer. And plus, goes back to what we were talking about. About this country. We're a young country. I mean, American football has not been around that long, as opposed to a game like soccer. You know what I mean? Which has been around for eons before America was America. You know what I mean? Like,
what was it? The Aztecs?
Yeah, I mean, people were playing
the
soccer
Mayans.
For a very long time now. You know,
playing that joint for their lives. Yo.
So you know, it's just an easier game for lesser privileged people to play. I mean, you can play football without pads and everything, and I'm pretty sure people do. Sports is kind of universal too. If you like a sport, you like a sport. If you watch volleyball, you like volleyball. You watch American football. I'm sure there are people outside of this country who like American style football because it is a sport. You know, these guys are hitting. These guys
but
are
they're
throwing
probably
the ball
American.
and catching. I don't know. It depends.
All right, so I'll give you that. So
if
yeah,
you look at a soccer
definitely.
match and a soccer match.
I'm skeptical. I'm sorry, it's coming through, but I'm a little skeptical. Like of sports that are played, I like football the most. All right? But still, like all in all, like I just like I get that it's an interesting sport here in America, but I can see why a lot of people would pass it up.
I think for the humanity of it, I mean, concussions, guys get injured, they go down.
No, it's the yards, player, man. It's not. You playing yards, every 5 seconds you gotta stop. Like that to me is aggravating. I just want you to be like, all right, so just keep going. Like stop stopping. Like stop stopping.
Well, you have to stop. I mean,
yeah.
In soccer, there's not that many collisions going on. It's a different sport.
It is. Yeah.
Every snap of the football, there are collisions.
Believe me, I'm not saying
equivalent to car crashes. Like
I'm not saying like soccer is the pinnacle. Like, all right. So here's my thing. So I like fights. I like boxing. I like MMA. You know what I'm saying? Of course you gotta stop because you can only fight for so long. You know what I'm saying? But to me, as you're watching it, it's engrossing all at once. Like I can get in a joke and I can analyze and I can dig into it, and it's happening for at least 5 minutes. You know? But when I'm watching like basketball, like they're blowing the whistle every goddamn time. Somebody sliding across the court, nobody got touched. I don't know why I can't stand floppings. Basketball will actually be interesting if they weren't flopping every goddamn second.
They have flops.
They got flops. But nobody pays attention to these motherfuckers.
MMA and boxing is a little different because that's a one-on-one, you versus me.
That's it.
These other sports are team sports, so there are a lot of different parts involved. You know,
maybe it's just an attention span thing. I just don't.
I think Americans, they like to see points. You know, which is why maybe soccer and maybe even baseball is not as popular. Hockey. Because you don't score a lot, you know. You don't see the long bomb touchdown where he catches it and boom, there's 6 points on the board. You know, it's quick. You know.
You think football will be
even football? Sometimes you have your games where it'll be 6 points to 3 points at the end. There wasn't a lot of scoring. It was a defensive game. Sometimes those games are boring. You look at those games, you be like, "That's a boring game," you know. But
like, there was no rush.
If all football was like that, I don't think Americans would be into that. The way we are, it's a consumerism society, so everything is like, give me what I want now. You know what I mean? I want points. We got a fast scoring, high point game. I like that, you know. People don't even like waiting a week to watch their favorite shows anymore. They want to come out with them on Netflix. Drop the whole season at once so I can just watch it all, you know. It's a fast.
That's me right
society.
here, son.
Yeah,
that's me right here. Give me the whole season so I can binge that jump.
They don't like waiting anymore. Man.
I'm binging Daredevil right now.
Mm-hmm. How long have we been going for?
Dude, we over an hour. Like, that's already.
We covered two topics.
All right,
so quick, man. What do you think about Prince dying, man? It was sad, but you know what?
I don't know what to say about it, man.
It's the same as everything else. People only remember you for what the greatness you had when you were gone. Especially when you're a celebrity. Nobody was thinking about Prince before he passed. You know, did you even know? Hold on. I disagree. Did you even know Prince's plane emergency landed 2 days or a week before?
I did. That jump popped up in my newsfeed. I was like, oh, I hope he's okay.
I mean, I did. But outside the Facebook newsfeed, nobody followed Prince. You weren't listening to Prince songs or looking for his shows. Prince is performing in Canada today. Or, you know, like, we didn't even know he was hooked on prescription drugs until... it was prescription drugs, right? Wasn't he hooked on like some painkillers?
Dude, I heard he died from the flu, so I don't know. Like that was the last thing I heard.
They said it was the flu. That said that's why he landed.
It didn't make sense,
but it was really like an overdose or something like that.
I don't know, because Prince didn't really look like a person who was. I don't know. Then again, maybe he did look like a person who was taking drugs. Mm-hmm. He was wearing blouses all the time.
But I mean, a lot of these guys, rock stars back in the 80s, man, before they really knew how bad drugs were. I mean, you talking about these guys being at the pinnacle of their careers during the age of crack and coke
heroin was just coming out.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
that was just a whole different situation.
These guys have been doing that stuff since, you know, I mean, even Michael Jackson, even prescription drugs.
Prince always seemed like a legit dude to me. Like he didn't seem like a person who was just out like blowing, just doing blow all the time just cause it was fun. Like, he just didn't seem like that character. Like, he seemed like a person... Like, if you ever look at his interviews, like, he dropped some knowledge on his interviews. Mm-hmm. And he has a personality that's like... He's skeptical and he's intelligent. Like, that was the kind of character he had. And then, at the same time, he could put on a show and entertain the shit out you. Like, that was the cool thing. That's why I think a lot of people like Prince. Like, he was very aware. He was very, like, dug in. And he did it. He's done some research. And he wasn't just doing drugs all the time, you know? That's why I'm always kind of feeling like, of course they want to put on prescription drugs. Like, prescription drugs are definitely a thing. People die from it all the time. And when it happens to our celebrities, because celebrities go through some shit we don't see.
They do.
You know?
They are actually human beings. We always see is the paparazzi flashing cameras and them at concerts and stuff like that. But when he steps off that stage and the lights are no longer on, he has to go in the bathroom and, you know, take his shit or take a shower or whatever. He's a human being. He puts his pants on just like me and you. You know what I mean? So he has problems. But a lot of times, like
people
I said,
love prescription
these addictions are not even based on illegal drugs. A lot of them are prescription drugs that they can get at the pharmacy. You know what I mean? That they can be prescribed by a doctor. You know, it tells you to take them in moderation, but if you go overboard, it can be addictive. You know. So
it'll kill you so fast. These antidepressants will knock your ass out.
Don't care. They don't care if Prince dies because
they made a immense business out of it. Mm-hmm. They made a massive business out of it. Like ADHD. What was it? That one doctor who pretty much invented ADHD on his deathbed was like,
I saw that.
Psych. Yeah, like really? Like that was just crazy. Like how you just be like psych before you die.
They changed it from ADD to ADHD, right? Wasn't it ADD?
I think it's two different things.
Because they said that there's no longer like in a medical journal or something. There's no longer a classification for ADD.
Because ADD was attention deficit disorder.
Now and then ADHD deficit hyper disorder or whatever it is. Yeah. Something I don't know, but it's how can you change the definition of a quote unquote disease or affliction and give it a different meaning to prescribe a different drug to it? You know, it's just. I don't know. Man. These pharmaceutical companies are snakes, man. And somebody knew that he was on these drugs, and you know whether it was up to him as the person, or not to take them.
Is drugs the official story for Prince?
I think it was pharmaceutical drugs. I think he said he had an overdose. He was on.
That's what they said.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. I didn't. Cause the last thing I heard was talking about the flu. So I don't know.
They said that he had the flu. That's why his plane emergency landed.
How do you emergency land for the flu though? Like that doesn't seem like something you emergency land
passing out or something like that.
Take 10.
Yeah,
but it's like, man, you know, I guess drugs would make more sense as far as you know how
emergency the situation. Like, you don't emergency land when you have the flu. Like, people have the flu all the damn time, you know?
They say he was
like, I
cremated.
had the flu a couple weeks ago. Huh?
They said, according to TMZ, it said he was cremated.
Really?
Yeah, they said they released his body to his family on Friday after the autopsy, but we won't have the autopsy results for another week or so.
That's crazy, though. They cremated Prince. They burned him up.
It's crazy, man. You're never as hot until you die, man. I mean, look at Biggie, look at Prince. Tupac, look at Michael Jackson, look at Prince now. Prince would not have even been a topic of conversation for this podcast if he didn't die a couple days ago. But, I mean, with that being said, it is sad. I'm sad to see him go. They're going to be playing his movie Purple Rain in movie theaters, in AMC theaters, select theaters.
Yo, I was thinking about like posting that joint on Dennis' wall, something. See what D Nice trying to go see that joint.
Did he post a lot about Purple Rain?
No, he didn't. But I didn't know that was his motherfucking movie. I remember watching that joke. So the first time I watched Purple Rain was with D Nice and I think it was Ant-Man, D Nice, and Chris. It was in the living room watching that joke.
How did all four young grown men? How did y'all react to that joke though? Yo, that would have been funny.
The same way as always when you watch a movie with Dennis, yo. You mean that joke weak, yo. Yeah. Yo, when his dad was smacking him up in the... Oh, dude, come on, man.
Guy I know that you can watch a dead serious movie with and laugh at that show, man.
Yo, real shit, though.
That is funny, man.
That shit was funny, man. Like, I was like, I never realized this movie was funny until I watched it with you dudes. Like, I was lunching.
Yeah, man, it was sad, man. You know, I wish his family the best, man. But, you know, honestly, man, as a human being, as a band, like, you know, it all comes out time to move on eventually, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to accept the idea that, you know, you won't be here forever, you know.
Dude, life is just a step, dude. It's just part of the process, you know what I'm saying? Death is the next step, the next process.
True that, man.
Whatever goes on from there, we don't know. But it's just part of the process, dude. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody live forever. Except unless we all become cyborgs. Like we just talking about. You gotta lose your nuts.
If you turn Prince into a cyborg,
is it worth it?
He could be bring back to life. You know?
Is it worth it? Mm-hmm. But wait a minute. So the thing that's happening, and I heard about it. Like, I don't know the details on the jump, but apparently it's the thing they do in like China and like Japan. It's like these people will get like blood transfusions with the blood of young people, and apparently it pretty much regenerates their bodies, yo. Really? It's not legal in America, though. But apparently what I heard is that if you have enough money to get enough blood from a young person and you just transfuse that blood into your body.
In China, they're overpopulated.
Yeah. Then your body heals itself. You get younger.
Snatch a young boy from the provinces.
See what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Hook him up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just siphon that joint through.
Who's going to miss him?
So what if vampirism actually came from some shit? Like, what if this is just an advanced form of vampirism? What if vampires fucking exist?
You know, I do have a tendency to kind of believe quirky stories like that because medical and scientific advances have come so far, man. I mean, you remember a couple of years ago, you could never think about a bug-sized camera, kind of flying drone that could do reconnaissance for you and actually fly over to an area and scope out an area, and it's got a camera on it, and you could facial recognition and all this other stuff. And
they can do little
bug-sized. Yeah, I saw an article. I don't know if it's true. I've never seen a fly-sized camera fly in and land on a table.
Shit, but apparently look around the room and shit, and CIA watching us.
Apparently they do. I mean, you make
FBI
the mechanics of it be small enough. You can make a small enough camera. Why wouldn't you be able to fly a reconnaissance bug-sized drone into a room and scope it out? I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean,
it could happen.
So it's just like with the blood transfusion thing you're just talking about. Why wouldn't that be a thing? I mean, medical advances have come so far, man. Like, why would that not be a thing? Like, you could practically siphon your blood out and put new blood in. Why would you not be able to?
I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
you can do it
illegal because you'd have to kill the person who.
I don't know if you have to kill the person. You gotta have enough money to pay him though.
a lot of money.
I don't know.
Or you just steal some homeless children from Brazil. I'm just saying. Like
I said,
Cambodia's a lot of people in Thailand and Cambodia just hanging out.
They'll wake up in a tub full of ice, stitched up. You know what I mean? Like, I took a kidney from you. You don't need it. You know?
That shit happens,
yo. You from the provinces. Yeah.
Province. The favelas, yo. Like some unregistered kids in Brazil.
Yeah, man.
Hey, it's terrible.
Why wouldn't that don't be true?
Who would do that?
Could be.
Terrible people.
But
I bet Trump is doing it.
I would hope Prince didn't do that. Hey, Prince, please. Like, don't let us find out you're a
wait a minute.
Vampire.
That motherfucker was young for a long time.
He was young as hell.
That's why, but like, he was young when he died. I mean, 57 is not old. But this nigga didn't look 57.
Pumping yourself
he looked like he was like 32.
If you've been pumping yourself full of narcotics, illegal or legal,
Prince looked younger than me.
20 years. I mean, you could die relatively young, you know. And I mean, who knows how many facelifts Prince has had. You know, he might have had some kind of, I'm not saying he had like plastic surgery, but he could have had a nose job or a facelift or something like that. You know, make himself look younger.
He doesn't look like he had a facelift.
He doesn't.
Like people who have facelifts,
the same from Purple Rain. Yeah.
He does, man. Like he looks like I saw a video of 1980 when he did his first show, like on television. They had it on Facebook, of course. So I was looking at that picture in his new, and he was like, he might have been. He looks the same. Like he looks like the same damn person. Black folk, black don't crack, but he was light skinned. I guess it don't matter when you black.
I guess he never did that.
Unless he's a vampire.
Michael Jackson wanted to get lighter. Prince should have wanted to get darker. He got a skin darkening treatment.
It was it. Is that just called tanning?
I don't know.
What was that joke Uncle Ruckus said? It said Prince or Michael Jackson had vitiligo, so he had revitiligo.
Yeah, he said vertigo or whatever it is. He said, did I just catch you having fun? Smacked him across the room. If nobody knows what we're talking about, that's Boondocks.
Man, people know the Boondocks. I forget the name of the
episode. What's it called? Uncle Ruckus or something?
Uncle Ruckus, yeah.
YouTubed it. It was funny, man.
That shit's funny. Ignorant, man.
Yeah, man. How long have we been going for?
An hour and 20 minutes, yo. I don't know, man.
I feel like we're not done, but it's like an hour and 20 minutes podcast. Like that's probably long enough for people to listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they're interested, they'll listen, and we'll do another one. Yeah. We'll do another one, definitely.
No doubt, man. Well, I feel good, man. This was our first one. I mean, I feel like it kind of flowed easily. I mean,
I'm telling you, once you get past that rough ass introduction,
yeah,
we're good to go.
I feel like we could still have more to talk about even right now. Or I feel like we could, the next podcast will be easier because, we're pretty much, basically with this podcast, we just want to,
express ideas
and opinions that may not be out there, maybe on some mainstream issues and some not so mainstream issues that
give a different perspective.
Yeah, people might not express.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we can bring a different flavor to it.
Or if you do have the same opinions we have, hey, we're on your side, and we just mentioned it on the radio. So, or the internet. The internet is even better than the radio.
We definitely need a place where they can leave comments, So
we'll put this on YouTube.
Anybody who wants to comment and you have any opinion on any topic that we covered, anything that we covered tonight, let us know, man.
We're open for constructive criticism. Still be an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Think we should create Twitter accounts?
I guess so.
I
don't have one either.
Yeah, I'm like, I really need. Can y'all just hit me up on Facebook?
Twitter
is easier.
Oh, we should definitely make a Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook would be cool.
That'd be fun. But all right, I guess we could do a Twitter account. I don't know.
I definitely don't have one.
Shit. All right, guys. So we about to call it.
Yes.
All right. So
thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Idea Talkers Podcast.
You know what I'm saying?
Episode number 1.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Good fight.
More to come.
Good night.
Peace.
That's all I got.